The unexpected visitor Sundar Pichai walked into the bright car dealership with calm steps. The morning sun reflected off the shiny cars, making the place look grand and inviting. The smell of fresh leather and new machines filled the air. Sundar, known worldwide as a tech leader, was here for something simple today: to buy a car. Nothing fancy, just something reliable for everyday use. He was dressed modestly in a casual shirt and pants. No one could guess that this man was the CEO of one of the biggest companies on the planet. He preferred to keep his life simple and low-key when away from work. The dealership was busy. Salespeople moved quickly between customers, eager to close deals. At the front stood the manager, a tall, confident man named Jason. Jason was proud of his job and the success of his dealership. He dressed sharply and carried an air of authority. He believed he knew everything about cars and about people. When Sundar approached the counter, Jason looked at him and raised an eyebrow. "Can I help you?" Jason asked with a slight sneer, as if he already judged Sundar by his quiet, simple appearance. "Yes," Sundar said politely. "I'm looking for a reliable sedan. Nothing too expensive, but something with good fuel efficiency and safety features." Jason scoffed. "You're in the wrong place if you want cheap. Our cars here are top models, not for someone who looks like they don't know much about cars." Sundar smiled gently, but said nothing. He walked slowly towards the rows of cars. He touched the smooth hood of a blue sedan. It was a new model with many features he liked. After a moment, Jason came over. "Look, I don't have time for someone who can't appreciate quality. If you want a car, you need to know what you're doing." His tone was sharp and rude. Sundar looked up at Jason calmly. "I am sure I will find what I need. Thank you for your help." Jason laughed, loud and proud. "You don't even know how to choose a car, do you? Maybe you should leave before you waste more of my time." People nearby turned to look. The manager was humiliating Sundar openly. Sundar felt the heat of embarrassment, but did not lose his calm. He was used to challenges. This was just another test. Sundar took a deep breath and approached the sales desk. He pulled out his phone and started scrolling. Jason noticed and walked over again. "What are you doing? Wasting time on your phone?" Jason asked, his voice full of mockery. Sundar looked up. "I was just checking some reviews and technical specs. I want to be sure before I buy." "Reviews? Here? Nobody needs that when you have someone like me," Jason said, chest puffed. "But if you want advice, you're not getting it here." Sundar felt a quiet strength growing inside him. He knew this was not just about a car. This was about respect, about dignity. He stood up straighter and said in a firm voice, "I believe every person deserves respect no matter who they are or what they know." The room fell silent. Jason's face turned red with anger and embarrassment. Customers and salespeople watched the scene unfold, sensing the tension. Just then, a young woman walked into the dealership. She was a company representative sent to finalize a deal. She carried a folder with papers. She looked around and her eyes stopped on Sundar. "Mr. Pichai," she said, walking quickly towards him. "We've been trying to reach you. There is important news." Sundar nodded, listening carefully. "You are now the new owner of this dealership," she said. "The company decided to transfer ownership to you. Congratulations." Everyone gasped. Jason froze. His pride shattered in a moment. Sundar looked at Jason quietly and said, "I hope we can work together with respect." Jason could only nod, speechless. This was just the beginning of a story about kindness, humility, and true leadership. The new beginning after. The shocking announcement, the atmosphere in the dealership changed completely. Whispers spread among the staff and customers. How could Sundar Pichai, a man who seemed so simple, become the owner of such a prestigious place? For Jason, the proud manager, this was a blow to his ego that he had not expected. Sundar stood calmly, the weight of his new responsibility settling on his shoulders. He looked around at the rows of cars, the polished floors, the busy staff, and the hopeful faces of customers. It was more than just a business, it was a community. And now, he was its leader. He asked the young woman who delivered the news, "Can you tell me more about the company's decision? Why me?" She smiled, softly. The previous owner wanted someone who valued people over profits, someone humble but strong. Your reputation as a leader who cares for others made you the perfect choice. Sundar nodded thoughtfully. He knew leadership was not just about power or money. It was about serving others and helping them grow. Meanwhile, Jason sat in his office, feeling lost. He had always believed success meant control and status. But seeing Sundar's calm confidence even after being insulted made him question everything. He remembered how he had treated Sundar earlier, rude, dismissive, arrogant. It was clear now that he had been wrong. The next day, Sundar called a meeting with all the employees. They gathered in the showroom, curious and unsure of what to expect. "Thank you all for coming," Sundar began, his voice warm but strong. "I know some of you may be surprised by the change in ownership, but I want you to know one thing. This dealership is not mine alone. It belongs to all of us." He looked around, the room making eye contact with many employees. "Our success will come from respect, kindness, and teamwork. I want to hear your ideas. I want to help you grow, both as professionals and as people. Together we can build something better." Jason listened quietly at the back. He felt a strange mix of humility and hope. Maybe this was his chance to change, too. After the meeting, Sundar spent hours walking around the dealership talking to employees one by one. He listened to their challenges, their dreams, their frustrations. Some spoke about difficult customers, others about feeling undervalued. Sundar encouraged them. "Your work matters. When you help a customer find the right car, you change their life. Don't forget the power of kindness in every action." His genuine interest inspired many. A new energy began to fill the place. Meanwhile, Jason struggled with his pride. He approached Sundar one evening. "Mr. Pichai," he said carefully, "I owe you an apology. I was wrong to judge you. You have shown me what true leadership looks like." Sundar smiled. "Thank you, Jason. We all make mistakes. What matters is what we do after. I'm here to work with you, not against you." From that moment, Jason decided to become a better manager, one who valued people and humility over arrogance. Weeks passed and the dealership's reputation improved. Customers noticed the difference. They felt welcomed, respected, and cared for. Sales increased steadily. One day, a family came in, looking nervous but hopeful. Their old car had broken down, and they needed something affordable but safe. Sundar met them personally, listened to their story, and helped them find a perfect vehicle within their budget. As they left with smiles and grateful thanks, Sundar felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He knew this was more than a car dealership. It was a place where lives could change, through kindness, respect, and true leadership. The journey had only begun. Lessons beyond the showroom. The days grew busier at the dealership, but something new blossomed in the air: hope. Under Sundar Pichai's gentle but firm guidance, the place transformed from a simple car lot to a community hub where people felt seen and valued. Sundar didn't just see cars and profits. He saw stories, dreams, and struggles behind every customer and employee. One morning, Sundar arrived early as usual. He noticed Jason pacing nervously near the entrance. Jason had been trying to keep up with the fast changes but felt unsure about his new role as a supportive leader rather than a commanding boss. "Jason," Sundar said kindly, "how are you doing?" Jason sighed. "Honestly, I feel like I'm losing control. The old ways don't work anymore, and I don't know if I'm good enough for this new approach." Sundar smiled softly. Being a leader is not about control. It's about trust, patience, and listening. "Let me share a story." Sundar told Jason about his early days growing up in India, a boy with simple dreams but great hopes. He spoke of the struggles, the times when people doubted him, and how kindness from others helped him believe in himself. "Leadership," he said, "is about lifting others when they feel down, not pushing them harder." Jason listened, feeling a new sense of purpose. He realized that strength came from humility and that helping his team grow was the true measure of success. Later that day, a young employee named Emily approached Sundar with tears in her eyes. She had just faced a tough situation with a difficult customer and felt defeated. "I don't know if I'm cut out for this job," she admitted. "Some days it feels like no matter how hard I try, it's never enough." Sundar sat beside her and spoke gently. "Emily, every challenge is a chance to learn. Your effort matters more than perfection. Remember, kindness to yourself is just as important as kindness to others." He encouraged her to keep going, reminding her that even small acts of empathy could change someone's day. Emily wiped her tears and smiled, feeling a spark of hope. Meanwhile, Sundar worked on a plan to help the community beyond selling cars. He believed that a business's true success was measured by the positive impact it made in people's lives. He organized a free workshop teaching basic car maintenance for local families. Many had never learned how to care for their vehicles, which often caused stress and unsafe driving. Sundar invited mechanics and employees to volunteer, creating a bond between the dealership and the neighborhood. On the first day, a group of families arrived, curious and grateful. Sundar welcomed them warmly and began the session with simple words. "Taking care of your car is like taking care of yourself. It keeps you safe and gives you freedom." The workshop became a huge success. Parents brought their children, and the community felt connected. Sundar saw the joy on their faces when they learned something new and useful. One afternoon, Sundar received a call from the previous owner of the dealership. She thanked him for carrying on her dream with such heart. She shared stories of her own challenges and how she wished someone like Sundar would lead the place someday. The call reminded Sundar that every journey has its hardships, but kindness and perseverance light the way forward. Jason, now more confident, approached Sundar with a new idea. "Why don't we create a program to help employees develop skills and build their careers? It will show them that we care about their future." Sundar's eyes brightened. "That's perfect, Jason. Investing in people is the best investment of all." Together, they launched a training program with workshops on communication, leadership, and personal growth. Employees felt motivated and valued. Some even began sharing their own stories of overcoming obstacles. One evening, Sundar sat alone in the showroom, looking at the rows of cars reflecting the warm lights. He thought about the journey so far, how a simple visit to buy a car had turned into a mission to change lives. He realized that true leadership was not about titles or wealth. It was about touching hearts, inspiring hope, and lifting others. When they stumble, the dealership was no longer just a place to sell cars. It was a place where respect, kindness, and courage thrived, and Sundar Pichai knew this was only the beginning of a long, meaningful road ahead. Turning points and true courage. The weeks passed, and the energy at the dealership blossomed like never before. Sundar Pichai's leadership had sparked a change that went beyond business. It had touched hearts and built a family. One rainy afternoon, a crisis tested everything they had built. A local family arrived at the dealership, desperate and worried. Their old car had broken down on the highway, leaving them stranded far from home. The mother, visibly shaken, explained that they needed a safe car immediately. Their young son had a medical condition that required urgent hospital visits. The staff quickly gathered, ready to help. But the family's budget was very tight. They could not afford the new models on display. Jason looked at Sundar nervously. "What can we do? The prices are fixed, and the company expects sales." Sundar looked at the family with compassion. "We find a way," he said firmly. He remembered how kindness and understanding had helped him through tough times. He turned to the staff and said, "Let's find a car that fits their needs and budget, and we will make sure it is safe and reliable." They searched the lot for older but well-maintained vehicles. Sundar personally inspected the cars, ensuring quality. He negotiated with the company for a special discount and arranged flexible payment plans for the family. The mother's eyes filled with tears of relief. "Thank you," she whispered. "You are giving us hope. This moment was more than a sale. It was a promise that no one would be turned away when they needed help. News of the dealership's kindness spread through the community. More people came, drawn not just by cars but by the warmth and respect they experienced. One evening, Sundar received a letter from a customer. It told a story of a young man who had bought his first car from the dealership. That car helped him get to his job, start a new life, and support his family. The letter ended with gratitude for the dealership's honesty and care. Sundar read the letter twice. It reminded him why he had accepted the challenge. It was about people, their dreams, struggles, and courage. Meanwhile, Jason was changing too. The arrogance that once defined him had faded. He learned to listen and respect his team. He encouraged employees to share ideas and celebrated their successes. One day, Jason surprised Sundar with a report. The dealership's sales had increased steadily, but more importantly, customer satisfaction was at an all-time high. The staff felt motivated, and the community trusted them. "I never thought this could happen," Jason admitted. "But your leadership made me believe in a different way," Sundar smiled. "Leadership is about service, not power. We grow when we help others grow." But the real test came unexpectedly. A large corporate dealer opened nearby, offering flashy promotions and cutting prices aggressively. Some employees worried they would lose customers. Sundar gathered the team. "Competition is natural," he said. "But we cannot compete by lowering values. Our strength is kindness, honesty, and respect. That is what sets us apart." He encouraged everyone to focus on building real relationships with customers, to listen deeply, and to provide help beyond selling cars. The team worked harder, meeting customers' needs with genuine care. They offered free maintenance tips, follow-up calls, and community events. Slowly but surely, loyal customers stayed and new ones came. One day, a reporter came to cover the story of the small dealership with a big heart. Sundar shared his vision openly. "Business is about people," he said. "We don't just sell cars, we build trust. When you treat people well, success follows." The story inspired many. Sundar's approach became an example of leadership that prioritized humanity over profits. As night fell, Sundar stood outside the dealership, watching the lights glow softly. He thought of the journey, from a quiet visitor to a leader who had changed lives. He felt gratitude for the challenges, the team, and the community that believed in the power of kindness. And he knew the road ahead would have more tests. But, with courage and heart, they were ready, because true strength was not in wealth or status. It was in the courage to lead with compassion and the will to make a difference. Trials of the heart. The cool autumn breeze swept gently through the city as Sundar Pichai prepared for another busy day at the dealership. The business had grown steadily, but Sundar knew that true leadership was tested not just by success, but by how one faces hardship. One morning, an urgent call came from the community center nearby. A local charity was organizing a fundraiser to help underprivileged families, but their old van had broken down. Without transportation, they could not deliver food and supplies to those in need. Sundar saw an opportunity to extend kindness beyond the dealership. He immediately offered to donate one of their used vans to the charity. The team worked quickly to repair and prepare the vehicle for delivery. The day the van was handed over, a small crowd gathered. The charity director spoke with tears of gratitude. "This van will help us reach more families. You have no idea how much this means to us." Sundar smiled humbly. "We are honored to help. This is what community is about." But not everyone was pleased. A rival dealership owner heard about Sundar's generosity and scoffed, calling it a publicity stunt. Word reached Jason, who now stood firmly beside Sundar. "Let them talk," Jason said. "Our work is for people, not for applause." Soon, Sundar faced a more personal challenge. His health began to show signs of strain after long hours and relentless effort. One evening, after closing the dealership, Sundar sat alone in his modest apartment, feeling the weight of exhaustion. His mind raced with worries. Was he doing enough? Could he continue leading without burning out? The pressure to succeed and Serve everyone felt overwhelming. That night, Sundar's close friend and mentor called. Sensing his struggle, she shared words that echoed deeply. Remember, Sundar, even the strongest trees need time to rest and grow. Taking care of yourself is not weakness, it is wisdom. Only when you are well can you lead others well. Those words gave Sundar clarity. He realized that leadership was not about sacrificing himself but about balance and self-care. He began to delegate more, trusting his team to share the burden. Jason took on more responsibility, growing into a true partner and friend. One day, a new employee joined. A shy young man named Ryan, fresh out of college and eager but uncertain. Sundar saw himself in Ryan's eyes, full of hope but lacking confidence. He took Ryan under his wing, teaching him not just about cars but about kindness, patience, and resilience. Leadership, Sundar said to Ryan during their first week, is about lifting others when they stumble, about listening even when no one else will, and about believing in the good inside everyone. Ryan listened carefully, inspired by Sundar's example. Meanwhile, the community's support for the dealership grew. Families, neighbors, and local businesses came together for events and workshops. The dealership became a symbol of hope, kindness, and trust. Yet challenges continued. One afternoon, a powerful storm hit the city, causing flooding and damage. Many families lost their homes or cars. Sundar immediately mobilized his team to help, offering free repairs, temporary vehicles, and donations. The work was exhausting and emotional. Sundar stayed long hours, comforting customers and coordinating aid. During the chaos, a customer named Maria, a single mother of two, shared her story. Her car was destroyed, and she worried about losing her job without transportation. Sundar promised to help. The dealership found a used car for Maria at a discounted price and set up a flexible payment plan. Maria's relief was overwhelming. "You saved more than just my car," she said, tears in her eyes. "You saved my family." Moments like these reminded Sundar why he had taken on this journey. It was about human connection, about turning pain into hope. As the storm passed and life slowly returned to normal, Sundar reflected on the journey so far. The victories, the setbacks, the lives touched. He knew more challenges lay ahead, but he also knew that with kindness, courage, and a strong team, they could face anything. And so, the man who once came as a simple customer had become more than an owner. He had become a beacon of hope and a leader of hearts. A legacy of kindness. The sun rose gently over the city, casting a warm glow on the car dealership that had become more than just a place to buy vehicles. Under Sundar Pichai's leadership, it was now a sanctuary of hope, kindness, and community strength. The journey had been long and filled with challenges, but Sundar never lost sight of his mission, to lead with heart and humility. One morning, as Sundar walked through the showroom, he noticed the employees bustling with energy and smiles. Jason was training new hires, Ryan was assisting customers confidently, and Emily was leading a community workshop. The seeds of change had grown into a forest of opportunity. Sundar paused near the window, reflecting on how far they had come. He remembered the day he was humiliated by Jason, the proud manager who had doubted him. Now Jason was his strongest ally. He thought of the families helped, the challenges faced, and the lessons learned. Later that day, Sundar gathered the entire team for a special meeting. The room was filled with anticipation. "This dealership is more than a business," Sundar began, his voice calm but strong. "It is a family, a community, and a place where every person matters." He shared stories from the past months, of kindness shown, lives touched, and barriers broken. "Our success is not measured by numbers alone," he said. "It is measured by the impact we have on people's lives." He announced a new initiative, a scholarship fund to support local youth in pursuing education and careers. The dealership would invest in the future, just as it had invested in people's hearts. The team erupted in applause, inspired and proud. As weeks passed, the dealership's reputation soared. Customers came from far and wide, drawn not just by cars but by the warmth and respect they found inside. One evening, Sundar received a visit from the previous owner, who had started the business decades ago. She smiled warmly and said, "You have given this place a soul. Thank you for carrying my dream forward." Sundar bowed his head humbly. "This is only the beginning. Together we will keep growing." Then came a surprise that touched Sundar deeply. The community center organized a ceremony to honor Sundar for his leadership and generosity. Families, employees, and neighbors gathered to celebrate, standing. On the stage, Sundar looked out at the faces, grateful, hopeful, and strong. He spoke softly but with conviction. "I came here as a visitor, seeking a simple car, but I found a family, a purpose, and a lesson in humility." He thanked everyone for their trust and support. "True leadership," he said, "is not about power or prestige. It is about serving others, lifting them up, and walking together through life's storms." As applause filled the room, Sundar felt a profound peace. The journey had changed him as much as it had changed the dealership. He knew that no matter what the future held, kindness, courage, and respect would guide the way. And so Sundar Pichai's legacy was not written in titles or wealth, but in hearts touched and lives transformed. The car dealership was no longer just a business. It was a beacon of hope, a symbol of what is possible when one leads with love. And that, Sundar knew, was the greatest success of all.